Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's 6 o'clock Cairo local time, and this is the English News Bulletin. Comes to you from Channel 2 by my dear colleague Mirna Al-Ghirnawi and myself, Shireen Al-Wakil.
Hello, dear viewers, and we're going to start our news bulletin with the headlines. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi addresses the extraordinary Arab-Islamic summit in Riyadh. Israeli occupation tanks attacked central Gaza's Nusayrat camp, killing 11 Palestinians. UN Climate Conference COP29 kicks off in Azerbaijan.
Welcome again. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi on Monday said Egypt stands against any plots that seek the liquidation of the Palestinian cause or forced deportation of Palestinians from their land, warning that the future of the region and the world is at dangerous crossroads. He was speaking at the opening session of the extraordinary Arab-Islamic summit in Riyadh. Details to follow.
President Fattah al-Sisi on Monday said Egypt stands against any plots that seek the liquidation of the Palestinian cause or forced deportation of Palestinians from their lands, warning that the future of the region and the world is at dangerous crossroads. Addressing the extraordinary Arab-Islamic summit in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, the president asserted Egypt's firm stances in rejecting ongoing aggression in Gaza, West Bank and Lebanon, which has continued for over a year amid disappointing silence on the part of the international community despite dangerous threats to international peace and security. The head of state added that Egypt condemns in the strongest terms the systematic manslaughter campaign that targets civilians in Gaza Strip. He added that Egypt is committed to provide all sorts of support to Lebanese state and to push efforts to reach a ceasefire in both Gaza and Lebanon in order to prevent the conflict's possible regional expansion. The president said Egypt has shouldered the responsibility of launching the track for peace across the region for decades and remains committed to it. The extraordinary Arab-Islamic summit kicked off in Saudi Arabia capital Riyadh this afternoon. Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman opened the summit, which seeks unified position on Israeli aggression in Gaza and Lebanon, as well as discussing the latest developments in the region. The current summit comes a year after holding a joint summit between the Arab League and Islamic Cooperation Organization, in which they denounced Israel's barbarism in Gaza Strip.
Arab League Secretary General Ahmed Abulghit confirmed that the Israeli occupation authorities seek to sabotage the possibilities of peace in the region. In his speech before the extraordinary Arab-Islamic summit in Riyadh, Abulghit stressed that Israel aims to forcibly evict Palestinians out of their lands, adding that the lack of accountability for Israel in the absence of international law have encouraged Israeli leaders to implement the plan.
In his speech before the summit, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas called on the international community to stop the year-long Israeli aggression in Gaza Strip, ensure the access of humanitarian aid to the besieged Strip, and to end Israeli settlement activities in the West Bank. The Palestinian president stressed his refusal of Israel's plans to separate Gaza from West Bank. Abbas asserted the need to prepare mechanisms to enable the Palestinian government to rule the Gaza Strip under the umbrella of the Palestinian Liberation Organization and to establish a single Palestinian state. He also called for supporting the international coalition to provide Palestine with full membership in the United Nations.
Lebanese Prime Minister Najib Mikati called for an immediate ceasefire in the Israeli war in Lebanon and Gaza in order to implement international resolutions. He asserted that Lebanon is firmly in need for peace and security to enhance stability in the region. In his speech before the summit, Mikati said that more than 1.2 million Lebanese were forced to flee their homes. He said that Lebanon is witnessing unprecedented historical crisis. Lebanese Prime Minister stressed that Israel has committed the most heinous crimes against Lebanon and its people.
Syrian President Bashar al-Assad addresses extraordinary Arab Islamic summit, asserting on the necessity of implementing ceasefire in Gaza and Lebanon. He also stressed that need to give the Palestinian people their legitimate rights in establishing independent state. Syrian president confirmed that stopping massacres and genocide by Israeli occupation is a top priority.
On the sidelines of the extraordinary Arab Islamic Summit in Riyadh, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and Jordan's King Abdullah II stressed the need for the international community to take serious measures to end the war in the Middle East and to achieve peace based on the two-state solution. During the meeting, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and Jordan's King asserted the stances of Egypt and Jordan are identical regarding the rejection of forced displacement of Palestinians or the meeting discussed the latest developments in the region in Egyptian and Jordanian efforts to calm the situation and achieve ceasefire in Gaza and Lebanon. They also warned of the danger repercussion of escalation policy in the region.
Also on the sidelines of the summit, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi held a meeting with Lebanese Prime Minister Najib Mikati and asserted Egypt's supportive stance to Lebanon's sovereignty and integrity. President al-Sisi stressed the important role of the international community in stopping the military escalations in the region. Al-Sisi confirmed Egypt's keenness to achieve stability and security in the region. The meeting also reviewed the latest communication with various international and regional parties to achieve a ceasefire in Lebanon and to fully implement UN Security Council Resolution 1701.
Israeli occupation forces on Monday raided the western side of the Nusayrat refugee camp in central Gaza Strip, with tanks and air attacks killing at least 11 people since Sunday night. Medics said 7 people were killed in Nusayrat in 2 separate Israeli airstrikes. One of them attacked a tent encampment. Residents said Israeli tanks opened fire as they rolled into the sector of the major refugee site, causing panic among the population and displaced families sheltering there. Israeli war jets also attacked refugee camps in Sawah west of the camp, which led to the death of 3 Palestinians and wounding of others. Palestinian news agency said the drones also opened fire intensively on homes of civilians north of Nusayrat. In the northern Gaza town of Beit Lahia, where Israeli forces is launching a new onslaught since October 5, 4 people were killed in an Israeli airstrike.
In Lebanon, relatives held funerals for 20 people killed in a strike on the southern town, including 7 medics from rescue groups. On Sunday, at least 41 people were killed in Israeli airstrikes attacks across Lebanon. In Alamat, another attack killed 23 people, including 7 children, as well as elderly men and women. Another 12 people were killed in the Baalbek region, and 3 died in a strike on Al-Qasr in the Hermel region in the east.
With the participation of Al-Azhar Grand Imam Sheikh Ahmed Al-Tayyib, the annual UN Climate Summit began on Monday with countries preparing for tough talks on finance and trade after a year of weather disasters that have emboldened developing countries in their demands for climate cash. Addressing the opening session of the 2-week event, COP29 President Mukhtar Babayev warned the world is on a road to ruin, as climate change is already hitting many parts of the world. COP29 summit's top agenda item is a deal for up to $1 trillion in annual climate finance for developing countries, replacing a target of $100 billion.
And to Ukraine, where regional governments said on Monday that Russian air attacks killed at least 6 people overnight and injured 24 more. In southern and central Ukraine, 5 people were killed in the Mykolaiv region and 1 was killed in the Zaporizhzhia region, where the residential building was destroyed. According to data from Ukrainian Air Force, the Mykolaiv and Zaporizhzhia region and most of the eastern half of Ukraine were under air raid alerts and the threat of Russian drone attacks and on and off for most of the night.
Moving to the economy news, where Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli said that the state is exerting huge efforts to optimize the use of Egypt's natural resources and potentials through expanding the exploration and research activities in cooperation with local and world giants specialized in this field. The Prime Minister was speaking as he chaired a meeting to follow up progress of exploration and research activities for natural resources and precious metals in Egypt. During the meeting, Dr. Madbouli also reviewed progress of a plan to launch bids for gold searching, in addition to a number of proposals to eliminate the phenomenon of random exploitation of areas containing natural resources.
And to the Egyptian bourse, which closed higher today, pushed by heavy purchases on various sectors. The market capital of listed companies added 9 billion Egyptian pounds, reaching 2.2 trillion pounds at the end of transactions. The benchmark index EGX 30 rose 0.7% above the 31,620 points mark. The equal weighted indices EGX 70 and EGX 100 both climbed near 0.3%.
Moving to the sports news, where Eintracht Frankfurt striker Omar Marmoush continued his blistering run of form in the Bundesliga with an assist and a goal in his side 3-2 win away to Stuttgart.
And finally, Arsenal's Premier League title challenge took another hit after they were held to a 1-1 draw with Chelsea. It's now 4 games without a win in the league for Mikel Arteta, team which is 9 points behind leaders Liverpool, while a point saw Arsenal climb up to 4th in the standings. Its winless run has seen a gap open up at the top. Chelsea is 3rd ahead of Arsenal on goal difference.
That's a wrap of our news bulletin, but do stay tuned for more updates. You are in the company of myself, Myrna Ghaznawi, along with my colleague, Shireen El-Wakil. Thank you for watching.
Thank you. Good night.